Hey guys, Ace Kai again, and there was quite a large gap between this video and the last one, and I'm terribly sorry. The reason for that is Hurricane Matthew. While I live in South Carolina, and Hurricane Matthew, we didn't expect it to hit my town as hard as it did, and it knocked pretty much the whole town out of power for about 4 days, and I didn't get my internet back until just today. So I really do apologize for the lack of videos, but I just did not have the resources to do so. However, that being said, this is university days, and I'll be reading chapter 3 and 4 and maybe even 5. I don't know. Just depends, because I haven't read in a while, so I figure I should give you guys more bang for your buck. But anyways, this is chapter 3. In the last chapter, what was it? Vinyl and Octavia, they hung out at the bar. They found out they liked each other, and Vinyl was staring at the back of Octavia's hair like she was some sort of she was obsessing. She was obsessing. You know, she's just looking at her walk away, and that's cute. So here we go, chapter 3. The dark coldness swept over Vinyl's body, but she didn't feel it. Her phone floated before her eyes, wrapped in a haze of white. Red lights blinked in her peripheral vision, burning the late hour into the darkness. Her bed was soft, but small, and the apartment was not much larger than it. But the DJ's mind was not on her surroundings. And it would really help for you guys if you opened this page, because if you open the link to the fiction, because they do these like text message segments, and to Octavia, "Hey!" She gritted her teeth at the words, but after a moment she sighed and tapped at the screen. Draft deleted. With a groan, she rolled onto her stomach and pressed her face into the pillow. The phone hovered patiently until she turned back over for another attempt. "What's up?" "It's 3 a.m. I'm asleep, Vinyl. You're an idiot," the unicorn mumbled in a poor imitation of Octavia's voice. A magical tendril fumbled for the delete button. Message sent. Her heart jumped with a lance of shock, and she bolted upright. No, she whispered. "Not now, not at this time, damn it!" For a few precious seconds, Vinyl maintained the hope that perhaps Octavia didn't sleep near her phone, and thus wouldn't hear it go off. Sweat trickled down her brow as a minute ticked by. Just before she started to relax, a soft ringing filled the air. Oh, fuck me. Incoming call from Octavia. Oh, fuck me! There was no way out of it. Octavia knew Vinyl was with her phone. She had to answer it. In her sleep-deprived state, the DJ considered not answering and leaving town, so she never saw the cellist again. But saner thoughts prevailed. Hey, Vinyl said nervously. "Why in Equestria are you texting me at 3:15 in the morning?" replied an amused yet still very sophisticated voice. I couldn't sleep." "So you decided to inflict your misery on me as well?" She winced. "Sorry." "Don't worry, I'm joking. As it happens, I cannot get to sleep either." "Why?" Vinyl rolled over and curled up, a little smile replacing her fearful expression. "My brain refuses to stop thinking." "Yeah, I know the feeling. What are you thinking about?" "Silly things. I shan't bore you with them lest they send you to sleep." "Actually, that sounds fantastic." They shared a suppressed giggle. "Go on, tell me." "Well, I was thinking about you, Vinyl." Her heart beat a little faster. "Yeah?" she asked, hoping her voice didn't sound hoarse. You know what I said in the tavern about not having friends?" "Yeah?" "Well, I was thinking that I was so lucky to be forced to get to know you better. It's a strange feeling having..." A quiet sniffle from the other side of the line made Vinyl's chest hurt. I'm sorry. Something about being up late at night makes me more open." "It's okay, I understand that. It's the same with me, too," replied the DJ comfortingly, followed by an almost inaudible, "Please don't cry." Oh my... I mean, this is cute, but it's kind of unbelievable. They just They didn't just meet, but they've barely met each other. I wouldn't believe that they'd be having this kind of conversation already. And for them to feel this way about each other right off the bat, it just seems kind of silly. I'm okay. I shouldn't even be crying because this is a good thing. I suppose what I was trying to say is thank you. Hey, I should thank you too. None of my friends are very close, so it's nice to know you're here. Octavia giggled. I'm not going anywhere, that's for certain. My degree will take a while. Yeah, mine too. But we'll kick flank and take names before we're done. You and me, got it? She didn't mean to sound so violent, but she thought of spending more time with her new friend, and she got excited. Absolutely. Friends forever. Octavia sounded equally excited. Groaning, Vinyl smiled in the darkness. That was pretty lame. Oh, hush you. I've always wanted to say that. Now you say it too, so it's official. After a moment of silence, the unicorn swallowed her pride. Friends forever. This is really cheesy now. You wouldn't know how to mix a sub-bass if your life depended on it, screamed Vinyl. And you wouldn't be able to tune a custom cello to orchestral standards with any degree of competence, Octavia shot back. Syke scratched his chin with interest. You know, I really thought you two would be fast friends. Maybe I'm losing my touch. For a moment, the pair felt slightly guilty at making the tutor doubt himself. Or maybe you need to hang out a couple more times. The guilt vanished quickly. I think that violates my rights as a citizen of Equestria, namely, the prohibition of cruel and unusual punishment. Vinyl made a mental note to compliment that particular insult after class. Oh, yeah? Well, you were so busy talking about yourself at the bar that I could have left and you wouldn't have even noticed. It was an average comeback, and Vinyl felt her will to continue the charade was weakening. Thankfully, Syke finally decided to end it himself. All right, settle down, you two. A chorus of disappointed groans echoed from the rest of the class, and the exchange of bits implied some sort of gambling had taken place. Let's get back on track. I've already gone over your coursework today, but we still have half an hour before this class technically ends. So, how about we have some suggestions about what our favorite pair does this week? Bon Bon raised her hoof in the air with a smirk. How about a candlelit dinner? She giggled with the green mare beside her, who had a lyre on her flank. Some of the other ponies also chuckled, apparently aware of a joke Vinyl couldn't see. Octavia glared at Bon Bon, hoping the red in her cheeks would pass a fury. Some might call her a prude, but she knew very well what was being implied. Maybe something a little less likely to end in homicide, Syke suggested, yet his grin clearly said he was in on the joke too. How about a movie? You won't have to talk to each other much then. Vinyl was careful not to agree too quickly, instead of scowling at the tutor for a few seconds before nodding slowly. Whatever. At least in the dark theater I won't have to look for her face. That's the spirit. And you, Octavia? The cellist sighed as if the mere thought of going to a movie with the unicorn was exhausting. Oh, very well. If you insist on continuing this silly exercise, but Vinyl has to pay. Snorting back a harsh laugh, the green unicorn beside Bon Bon whispered to her loudly. Well, it is customary for the stallion to pay for his mare. Were the moment's pause before the students erupted into rowdy laughter, hooting and whistling at the beet-red targets of the joke. For once, Syke didn't join them. Lyra, that was uncalled for. I like a good one-liner as much as anybody, but let's try and tone it down a bit, okay? Sorry, Chief. I don't even know what Lyra frickin' sounds like. Did she ever talk? Ever? She said, snapping off the salute and eliciting more giggles from Bon Bon. All right, class, make like it's winter and wrap it... Make like it's winter and wrap it up. I'm sure you all have classes to go to. As they shuffled out into the sunlight, the DJ resisted the urge to walk next to Octavia too eagerly, managing a sort of irritated trudge that the gray mare matched with a more dignified equivalent. Only when they'd reached the safety of the busy court did they let the axe slip slightly. Their classmates had dispersed to attend their own lives, and nobody gave the pair a second look. You really gave me a run for my bits with that cruel and unusual punishment line, remarked a grinning DJ. Yes, I'm quite proud of that one. I actually thought it up during a history lecture when we were talking about ancient treaties that govern the rules of war. Octavia blew a strand of hair out of her eyes and glanced at Vinyl. The unicorn was looking around the court, unaware she was being watched. Her electric blue mane with cyan highlights seemed so unruly that it suited her perfectly, like a mixture of fun and beauty. The cellist almost envied her. You know, that actually sounds pretty cool. Maybe I should ditch one of my classes and take that instead. For every interesting ancient warfare document we study, there are 1,000 boring political declarations. You'd be bored out of your mind, sweetie. Vinyl stopped walking and looked at the gray mare. Sweetie? She repeated, raising an eyebrow. Are we not allowed to do nicknames yet? I'm sorry, I'm not really good at this. Octavia shifted her hooves nervously. Well, Sweetie isn't really a nickname. It's more of a pet name. Oh. The sight of blood rushing quickly into the cellist's cheeks made Vinyl chuckle. They keep using the word cellist to refer to Octavia, and it's getting a little bit overused at this point. You need to use a different word. Maybe you could just call her Octavia, because that's her name, and it wouldn't get stale. But I'm just a reader. I'm not a critic. In an effort to lessen the embarrassment for her friend, she resumed walking normally, flicking her tail to indicate Octavia should follow. Okay. You want me to pretend that didn't happen? Yes, please. No worries. Besides, nicknames are never just chosen. They're made. Just call me Vinyl for now, though, okay? Okay, so she cleared her throat to get back on topic. Why don't you leave one of your classes, then? Your company might actually make the lectures bearable. Well, I don't really have any I can afford to lose. I mean, musical theory is off the table for obvious reasons, and I really like drawing so far. The absence of her third class only drew more attention to it. Why not drop psychology? I've seen you in class when we aren't arguing, and you always look so bored. Well, because... Pardon? Because it gives us a reason to hang out. She quickly finished, flushing as she looked away to scan the groups of ponies scattered on the court for any observers. I like spending time with you as well, Vinyl. A mutual smile passed between them. It soon became apparent that each pony was trying to lead the other in a different direction. Octavia, don't you want to go to the food court? My history tutorial starts in a few minutes. I thought you were walking me there? Vinyl chuckled. Oh, yeah, my bad. Where was it again? There were two main reasons why Vinyl didn't hang around after Octavia joined her class. One, it would be awkward as hay if the gray mare looked out the window and saw her waiting. And two, she totally had her own stuff to take care of. She wasn't so lonely that she needed to hang around waiting for her friend to finish the school. The DJ had her own friends and activities to do, yep. Half an hour later, her friends and activities stared back up at her from the bottom of a mug. The university tavern wasn't as run down as her usual bars, but it was definitely showing its age. A plaque above the door helpfully informed her that this was one of the first buildings erected when the university was being built. As amusing as it was to know that one of the priorities when building an educational campus was a place to serve alcohol, it wasn't enough to distract her from the problem at hoof. Come on, Vinyl. Get it together, she muttered before licking a final droplet of hard cider from the rim. You got plenty of friends to hang out with. Don't get so attached to one of them. The words rang hollow in her ears. A little voice piped up from the back of her mind. But she's so interesting. No, she's not. I'm just bored, and she helps me burn time. Is that why I hang on to every word she speaks? Leave me alone! Pushing the mug away, she rested her head and her hooves on the table. A snort came from behind her. I haven't even said anything yet, said Psyche, taking the seat beside Vinyl. She snapped to attention, looking at her teacher with wide eyes. Hey. Relax, I'm not here to torture you. I come here for a drink after class sometimes. Cool. It felt so awkward talking to a teacher in this setting, like two different areas of her life were colliding. The tutor sighed and seemed to lose some of his cheer. You know I'm just having a bit of fun in class, right? I didn't realize it bothered you so much that you'd spend the afternoon grumbling into a cup of cider. Huh? Quickly realizing how she must look, the DJ sat up straighter and cleared her throat. I'm not drinking about that, but you should still feel pretty damn bad, though. Psych chuckled and raised his hooves defensively. Hey, teaching can be pretty boring. I think it's lucky that you and Octavia happen to take the same class. No matter how much crappy paperwork is on my desk, I can always look forward to the next showdown. I think she won today, by the way. Yeah, laugh it up. Vinyl suddenly wished she hadn't pushed the mug away so she could splash a few drops in his face. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure you'll get her next time. Maybe try something about her hair. She seems sensitive about it. She raised an eyebrow. Really? Oh, definitely. Or if you want to get on her good side, maybe try complimenting it instead. She has a good side? Vinyl quipped on reflex, but her thoughts were very far from malicious. The tutor barked a laugh. Ha! Nice one. I guess there's not much chance of reconciliation between the two of you, then? Any hope for our friendship died when she said being a DJ doesn't take skill. Her voice was firm and convincing. Yeah, I figured as much. Oh, well, good entertainment's hard to come by these days. The white unicorn slipped off the seat and stretched her hooves. Thanks for the chat, but I gotta bail. Parties to go to, bass lines to drop, later. Psych just nodded and half raised a hoof in farewell. That doubled as a signal to the bartender, who began mixing the usual. The second Vinyl was outside, her flown floated out of a pouch in her saddlebags and drifted before the purple lens of her shades. After some quick tapping, it returned there safely. As the white pony trotted away, she began to whistle. Octavia heard a faint rumble in her bags as they lay beside her seat. The old tutor droned in the background as she suddenly slid the offending object, her phone, out and checked it below the table, well out of the tutor's line of sight. Message from Vinyl. Your mane is pretty cool. Smiley face, emoticon. Okay, so she knows that Octavia likes to have her mane complimented, so she sent her a compliment about her mane to get her attention because Vinyl wants to fuck this horse. That was the end of Chapter 3. And we're going to go on to Chapter 4 here. Let me take a gulp of my beverage. So, I can see how things are going. I don't know if Octavia is really... I mean, she called Vinyl Sweetie, so maybe there's some amount of interest in there. But Vinyl definitely seems to be more aggressive about her emotions. This is Chapter 4. I've never been to this cinema before, remarked Octavia. The lobby was large, but still held the atmosphere of a small business. Cozy and warm, lacking the cold commercialism of most theater chains. It was a delightful discovery, and she couldn't be happier about it. Duh, this is affordable, giggled the DJ, floating 2 boxes of popcorn above them. The cellist shoved her playfully. I was joking when I said you have to pay, right? It's only fair that I take care of the tickets since you got the food. For a moment, Vinyl felt the urge to insist on paying for her friend, until a mint green unicorn's comment from their last tutorial swam to the forefront of her mind. Sure, I guess that makes sense, she replied, feeling somewhat cheap. Octavia just smiled and trotted up to the counter. 2 tickets to, Vinyl, what are we seeing? Oh. The unicorn quickly glanced up at the displayed titles. Flanksplosions 3. Her answer was greeted with a flat stare. What? It's by Cleveland Bay? He's always good for a laugh. Sighing, the gray mare turned back to the bored-looking cashier. 2 tickets to... that, please. Now armed with a couple of little pieces of paper, the pair made their way past the ticket checker and into a short, dark hallway. After emerging into the decently sized theater, they quickly climbed the stairs and claimed 2 seats in the middle of the back row. Since there were barely any other ponies nearby, Octavia took the opportunity to pose a few simple carries to her popcorn-guzzling friend. Flanksplosions? Really? Vinyl coughed a piece of popped corn forward a few rows and painfully swallowed the rest so she could answer. Ow! You got something against exploding flanks? No, but I do have something against bad movies. You haven't even seen it yet. Don't judge a book by its flank. The cellist giggled at that and delicately ate a single piece of her own popcorn. That sentence trailed off a bit at the end. Yeah, it got away from me. Anyway, don't judge it till you watch it. It's hard not to judge when it has a name like that. Vinyl closed her eyes and rubbed her temples. Open your mind, little one. I'm only a couple of months younger than you. Shh, the movie's starting. And so began 154 minutes of violence and improper camera angles. In the midst of a particularly loud action scene, as unicorns riding Pegasus ponies raked the ground with spellfire and a giant robotic Luna tried to buck Canterlot off its mountain perch, Octavia glanced at her company. The reflection played over her blue hair, making the light streaks glow and enriching dark strands with deep color. Her eyes were still hidden behind purple glasses, but it was easy to tell that they were open, eagerly absorbing the sensorial bombardment. A thundercrack made the cellist jump, and a look towards the screen revealed that the monstrous princess of the night had erupted into a mess of scrap metal and fire. The dirt and grime splattered soldiers cheered triumphantly, and Vinyl punched the air with one hoof as the other shoved more popcorn into her mouth. The gray pony couldn't help but giggle at the DJ's enthusiasm. Vinyl noticed and tossed her a grin, thinking she was enjoying the movie just as much. I told you it'd be a laugh, she said, leaning closer to be heard. Oh, I'm certainly laughing, replied Octavia as she suppressed the urge to mention that it wasn't the explosions that were tickling her funny bone. Later, in the penultimate romance scene between dashing star and stunning beauty on the wreckage-littered slope of a volcano, the cellist noticed that much of Vinyl's previous energy had dissipated, and she now lay across two seats with her head resting upon Octavia's hoof rest. With a body like that, she could do way better, muttered the DJ. Her tinted shades turned slightly to peek up at the gray mare. Am I right? I suppose. I haven't really been paying much attention to her body. The glasses quickly faced the screen once more. Yeah, me neither. I was just saying, in general or whatever. Stunning Beauty's high-pitched voice cut through any thoughts that were being formed, shrill and feminine to the extreme. Oh, dashing! You cannot confront the real Lunazilla! I love you! The stallion swept his mane back with one hoof. Hang on, let me get a... Not to worry, my dear. I'll just... He looked at the camera. Flank-splode her. Both the cellist and the DJ groaned in unison before breaking out into laughter. Fortunately, the overly dramatic score drowned them out and prevented the 7 other patrons from getting bothered. When the lights finally came up and the credits rolled, the pair left their seats in good spirits. They laughed their way through the lobby and outside before calming down. Oh, Celestia, breathed Octavia. That was simultaneously the best and the worst movie I have ever seen. Yeah, I hear that. The white unicorn rubbed at her aching ribs. I haven't laughed that hard in months. What should we do now? Well, what do you feel like doing? Maybe we could go for a walk? A smile spread across Vinyl's face. That sounds good. And so the two mares trotted merrily away from the cinema complex and through the bright streets. Despite the length of the film, it was only early afternoon, a fact for which the DJ was grateful because it meant more time with her new friend. Under the warmth of Celestia's charge, they wandered freely down packed streets, observing the sights and sounds of a happy day in Manhattan. A gang of colts rushed past, hooting and laughing without a care in the world. 3 old mares sat on a bench and gossiped about other ponies around them. Vendors hollered their wares as if it was a country town, only instead of tomatoes and apples, they had mobile phones and movies. A cart rumbled past, pulled by an old mule. It was stacked high with flowers of every color and kind, and every time the wheels hit a bump, a couple would fall onto the road. Seeing an opportunity, Vinyl darted forward and picked up a particularly delicious-looking sunflower with her teeth. Holding it by the stem, she turned to Octavia, who was watching with amusement. Check it, the unicorn mumbled around her prize. Free lunch! That was on the ground, giggled the cellist. It's a flower. They grow on the ground. Want a bite? Octavia hesitated, but decided to go along with Vinyl's playful behavior. It hadn't steered her wrong yet. Leaning closer, she opened wide and bit 2 petals at sea. Vinyl's got a flower in her mouth. You gotta use your mouth to eat. So Octavia's going to lean in to eat the flower, and they're going to kiss. Leaning closer, she opened wide and bit 2 petals off delicately, bringing them into her mouth with a smooth flick of her tongue. The stem broke suddenly, with the flower cut into 3 pieces, one of which was between the DJ's teeth. She spat it onto the floor, reddening with embarrassment. Whoops, I guess I held it too tightly. That's okay, it wasn't a very good one. The petals were all papery. Well, let me buy you a drink to get that taste out of your mouth, Vinyl suggested, jerking her chin towards a small cafe as the blush faded from her cheeks. Octavia tutted. I can pay for my own drink. After a moment of silence, her eyes widened. Oh, but, thank you for offering. I didn't mean to sound rude. Come on, Octavia. I'm buying you a drink. The unicorn's tone was final, but she flashed a smile to show that she wasn't serious. The pair found a comfortable table in the back, shielded from the praying eyes of the street. After a few minutes of scanning the menu, a cream-colored mare approached to take their order. Hey, what can I get? Oh, dear, said Bon Bon. Sudden, intensely awkward silence expanded like a bubble around the 3 of them. As much as Vinyl wanted to break it, she let caution decide her actions for once. Instead, surprising both her and the cellist, Bon Bon was the one to look around nervously and lower her voice. Listen, you can't tell any pony about this, okay? If Lyra and C-Top found out I'm working here, I would never hear the end of it. Wait, work? Huh? I just need this job to help with school. My shop is doing fine, really. The staff can take care of it while I'm here. Just, please don't tell. Wait, wasn't your assignment to go to the movies? Octavia considered quickly insulting the white unicorn beside her, but thought better of it. The game was compromised, but not unsalvageable. Yes, it just finished. Be subtle, and she'll get the hint. So why are you being so chummy with the... Oh, her eyes widened. But then that means we're right. Psyche was... What are you talking about? We hate each other. Octavia leaned towards the waitress. We hate each other, and you don't work at the cafe. Ah, Bon Bon quickly diverted her gaze from the table. That's strange. I thought some pony was sitting here. Oh, well. With all thoughts of drinking forgotten, Vinyl led her friend out of the cafe, avoiding eye contact with a certain waitress the entire time. That was weird, she muttered once they reached the safety of crowds. I agree. However, I also think it went a lot better than it could have. Yeah, you really saved our flanks. I was sitting there doing nothing like a tool, whereas you went all sexy persuasion mode on her. What mode? Pardon? Octavia wasn't sure if she heard that correctly. Super persuasion mode. It was pretty awesome. The DJ didn't seem to notice anything, continuing to walk happily onwards. Thank you, I think. Our next class might be a little odd, though. I reckon. So, what should we do now? She hated to be the one who suggests the obvious, but it couldn't be helped. I think perhaps we should part ways for now, lest we are spotted by another classmate. Ah. Vinyl slowed to a stop, slouching slightly. Okay, that's cool. I've got a bunch of stuff to take care of anyway, plus there's a party I'm running tunes for tonight. The cellist chuckled. Sounds like you have your hooves full. Don't forget to study now. Psh, studying's easy. It'll get even easier when I move into the student village. Octavia clapped a hoof to her mouth. I forgot about that. So it worked out well with the scholarship ponies? Yeah, they took care of everything. Even found some pony who wants to share a dorm. Can't wait to meet him. Without pausing to think, the gray mare threw her hooves around Vinyl's neck. Oh, my. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Flushing considerably, the DJ awkwardly returned the hug. Well, it's just a dorm, though it will make my life way easier. Pulling away, Octavia didn't let her enthusiasm wane. Imagine if you were assigned to my dorm. I've been looking for some pony to share with for a few weeks now. Vinyl's eyebrows shot up. Wait, really? Yes! Oh, how amazing would that be? She was grinning from ear to ear at the prospect. Yeah, pretty damn amazing. Listen, I should really get going. All that stuff I mentioned isn't going to do itself. Oh, sorry. I'm holding you up. So I'll see you soon. I'll call you tonight at the usual time. They shared a giggle. The usual time was in the early hours of the morning, when neither of them could sleep. The DJ leaned slightly closer on reflex, as did the cellist. They gave each other a surprised look and backed up. So, yeah, bye. Octavia was left to her confusion as the unicorn trotted away. For a moment, an interesting possibility entered her mind. But it was fleeting, and by the time she started walking back home, it was long gone. Pale marriage. She had a streak of gray through her mane, giving her a distinguished yet friendly appearance. I'm not familiar with this unicorn, so... What can I help you with, Miss Scratch? The pale mare asked pleasantly. She had a streak of gray through her mane, giving her a distinguished yet friendly appearance. Is it possible to choose which dorm I get assigned to? The unicorn replied, fidgeting with her hooves. The office reminded her of her high school principals, bringing back a multitude of guilty memories. Chuckling softly, she slid her glasses off and placed them on the table, leaning back into her leather chair. I get that question a lot. You want to share with a friend? Vinyl nodded, feeling a little bit embarrassed for not considering how common this request would be. But I don't want her to know we're sharing, as in, like, I want it to be a surprise. I see. And who is she? Octavia. Gray Earth Pony, studies. The mare nodded. Musical theory, history, psychology, yes. I remember her. We were lucky to get her here at all. Every university from Trottingham to Canterlot was vying for that little mare. Wow, really? The DJ leaned forward in surprise. You bet. She's one of the brightest young minds in Equestria. Sure. Vinyl had known that Octavia probably did really well at school, but she had no idea just how well. Her new friend, the gray mare with a gorgeous laugh and awkward friend-making skills, was way smarter than her. It was an odd mix of emotions running through her mind at the moment. Resentment, jealousy, envy, but at the core, there was only pride. One of the brightest young minds in Equestria, yeah. And also, her best friend. She couldn't hold back the smile. There's a lot more to her than I thought. The pony across from her cocked her head. You seem like a nice pony, and if you're sure Octavia wants you to share her dorm, then I can probably fix it up. She does, only she's hoping for a wild coincidence that puts us in the same room. I'm trying something a little more practical. Smart thinking. Well, if Octavia wants it, she'll get it. Can't risk upsetting her and getting a bad report. After a moment, the mare gave Vinyl a stern look. Don't tell any pony I said that. Or that I'm helping you out. If the other students found out I let you choose your dormitory, there would be rioting in the court. The unicorn started to laugh, but faltered under the continued gaze. I'm serious. It has happened before. Swallowing nervously, Vinyl stood to shake hooves with the mare. No worries. I won't tell any pony. Thanks for helping me out. Just like that, the pony was replaced by smiles and cheer once again. Not a problem. Have a good day. A couple of moments later, the white mare stumbled down the stairs leading away from the admin building and planted her hooves on warm grass. The main court was winding down for the day as the afternoon got later and darker. For a few moments, a light breeze rolled through, carrying the scent of sunflowers. Vinyl looked in the direction of the student village and began to whistle. All right. Chapter 5? We could go for Chapter 5. How much time? We're at 33 minutes. I didn't upload recently, so I think I could go for Chapter 5 right now. Chapter 5. A glowing pencil twirled and skittered along the paper under the gaze of purple shades. Smooth, curving lines arranged into a certain pattern littered the entire sheet, much to the teacher's confusion. Are you okay, Vinyl? She asked, drawing the attention of the entire class. For a moment, the pencil paused in its delicate activity, and its controller raised her head off the table slightly. Yeah. The teaching mare hesitated before continuing, and a few of the students turned their heads subtly, also interested in the DJ's behavior. It's just, you've been drawing nothing but treble clefs since we began today. I know you're already quite a skilled artist, but surely you could use some practice at defining texture like the rest of us? Probably. Another unbroken line, swirling around and trailing off with a little flick. Trying a different approach, the teacher brushed imaginary dirt specks from her coat to appear nonchalant. Last week, you mentioned that you might know some pony who would be willing to model for us. Finally, Vinyl stopped doodling and gave her full attention. Yeah, I haven't asked her yet, but I was thinking, don't we have, professional models or whatever? Grateful for a proper response for once, the mayor smiled. Yes, we do. But they've modeled for my class for years now, and I want some pony new, to have every pony sketch. It's not good to get used to drawing the same ponies over and over. The white unicorn simply nodded and began drawing yet another of the musical symbols that occupied her mind. But the teacher was determined not to let the conversation end that easily. Vinyl had always been one of the more outspoken members of the class, so seeing her so quiet was a bit worrying. So, who is this mystery mare? Earth pony? Gray fur? What's her cutie mark? Maybe I've seen her around the campus. Vinyl subtly moved a hoof to cover as many of the treble clefs as possible. I can't remember. Haven't known her for long. Well, I'm certainly excited to see her. Do you think you could convince her to come in next week? Yeah, no problem. I just kind of noticed that, my adult, authoritative figure, female pony voice is pretty much the same for all the characters. So I'm sorry if Octavia sounds just like the administrator and just like the teacher. But I can only do so much. Satisfied that all was once again right in her classroom, the mayor went back to the front of the class and the other ponies returned to their own conversations and work. All except one, that is. A stallion with a narrow face and a coat of dark brown was sitting beside Vinyl, eyeing her work with interest. His name was Shady Oaks, and he was the only pony brave enough to talk to a silent DJ. If Shady Oaks is like a new pony from a season that I haven't seen, I'm sorry. Yo, what's up with you today, dude? He whispered, nudging her hoof. Nothing. What's up with you? She hissed back, hissing to trace those silken lines. Wondering why you're being such a zombie, mostly. Stop wondering, 'cause nothing's wrong. Don't you have some texture to define? Shady snuffed a laugh. Okay, come on. I only took this class 'cause drawing is easy as hay and doesn't have any exams. Seriously, though. What's going on with you? Don't act like we're best mates, okay? Just back off. The earth pony shuffled away, his long black hair unfurling like a shield between his eyes and Vinyl. Whatever. You don't have to be such a bitch about it. Go cry to your mum, muttered Vinyl without thinking. It seemed as if her years of experience making friends and being sociable were all going down the drain, leaving an angry core that couldn't even hold a conversation. I can't be like that today. What if I was a bitch to Octavia? Her chest clenched at the thought, and she knew the problem had to be fixed before it got worse. Lightly tapping Shady's hoof to get his attention, Vinyl took a deep breath. Listen, don't worry about it, he replied instantly, brushing his hair aside. Huh? I think I know why you're so weird today. Heat slowly crept up the DJ's neck as she cautiously inquired. Yeah? My little sister Lilycup is in your psychology class. She said the tutor is always picking on you, too. Lilycup? That tiny light brown mare who always looked nervous? She said that? Yeah. Also told me that you were kind of mean to her in the first tutorial, but she forgives you. Don't worry, I forgive you too, dude. Going to that class every week while knowing that the teacher is just going to be a dick to you must be frustrating. That was it! Pretending to hate Octavia must be messing with her head. Wait. Pretending to hate Octavia must be messing with my head. No wonder I'm being a jerk today. But that stopped now. This DJ wasn't about to let Psych control how she behaved. You have no idea. Well, if you ever feel like getting wasted and forgetting about it all, I can hook you up with some cheap booze. Keep it on the down low, though. Vinyl scratched her chin thoughtfully. Drinking buddies can come in handy. I might just do that. Here, put your number in my phone. She floated the object in question out of a saddlebag and over to Shady, who took it with a grin. Oh, yeah. He's going to get Vinyl's number, and then Vinyl and Octavia are going to start getting in love, right? And then they're going to be, in the middle of hot, passionate sex. And then Vinyl's going to get a call from Shady Oaks, and he's going to be like, bro, and Octavia's going to see it, and she's going to be like, who's Shady Oaks, huh? And then Vinyl's not going to think, and she's going to be like, oh, he's just a drinking buddy, and she's going to be like, I thought we were drinking buddies, and they're going to have an argument, and it's going to be sad. Okay. Where was I at? As he tapped his own digits in, it was difficult to ignore a certain other name in the contacts. Octavia? He whispered. You've got Octavia's number? Blood rushed to her face, and she began to stammer before being interrupted. Half the stallions here would kill for that number, and the other half are gay. Damn, must be awesome being a DJ and getting to talk to all these higher-ups. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Did he not realize that the cellist was also in her psychology class, or was he playing a game with her? Here. He handed her phone back. There didn't seem to be anything malicious about him, that's for sure. But how could she tell? The rest of the class passed in an uncomfortable haze for the white unicorn. She managed to stop drawing treble clefs and did a quick sketch to demonstrate her knowledge of texture, earning kind words and a smile from the teacher, who clearly assumed that everything was now back to normal. But the second Vinyl walked out the door, her phone was out and dialing. Constant arguing was taking a toll on her social skills, and that needed to end quickly if she was to remain good at her job. Calling Octavia. Hello, Vinyl. The slightly tinny voice of her friend greeted happily. How was drawing? Same old, same old. What's up? I'm completing a history assignment at the moment. Oh, and I have some exciting news. The DJ smiled at how enthusiastic the normally calm mare was. Yeah? I received a notice telling me that some pony has been assigned to my room. Oh, I hope it's you. Don't get your hopes up. I'm probably not important enough to share with you rich ponies. Don't talk like that. Darn, I just remembered. I know the student coordinator. I should have gone to see her and requested you as my dorm mate. I don't think that would have worked. Vinyl hoped her grin wasn't audible. She's probably not allowed to let students choose who they share with. Oh, you're probably right. I'll just have to hope that they're friendly. Or sexy. Or both. Then you'd never be bored. The cellist giggled at that. You have a one-track mind, Vinyl. I regret nothing. Hey, there's something I want to talk to you about. She looked around to make sure no pony was close enough to hear. The building was almost empty now that the class was over. What is it? You know our, pretend arguments? Yes? I don't know if I can do them anymore. Why not? 'Cause I don't like arguing with you. But we're just pretending. I know, but still, I don't know. It's not fun anymore. There was a moment of silence in which she bit her lip worriedly. Well, what should we do then? The cellist replied, her happy mood having clearly abated. Maybe not argue. Instead, maybe we just don't talk to each other during that class. We'll act like we just can't even stand the thought of speaking. Like, we hate each other that much. Well, okay. I thought you liked trading insults with me, but if it's bothering you that much, then I'll agree to stop. Vinyl winced. I do like trading insults with you, really. It's just, I'm still acting bitchy even after we stop arguing, and I don't like that. You didn't seem bitchy when we were doing our little assignments. Are you sure you're not just being too hard on yourself? The DJ snorted before replying. Well, obviously I haven't been bitchy with you. How is that obvious? I'm not following. I meant, like, well, it doesn't matter. What I'm worried about is that I might become bitchy with you, and I guess I like you too much to risk ruining our friendship. The words came easier than expected, and for once, Vinyl didn't feel like there could have been a better way to get her message across. Oh. Well, if you phrase it in that way, I understand what you mean. Very well, from now on, we just won't talk in class. Sweet. And thank you for saying that. Saying what? That you don't want to risk ruining our friendship. Having never experienced one before, it feels nice to be reminded that now I have a friend, and that it's with some pony who seems to value me as much as I value them. Vinyl felt a little awkward having everything spelt out like that instead of just taking it as a given. But when she considered that Octavia had nothing else to draw from when it came to this kind of situation, it became a lot more tolerable. Hey, no worries. I'll text you 100 times a day if you want me to remind you. They giggled together, and the DJ took advantage of the brief gap in spoken conversation in order to once again make sure that no pony was nearby. An irritatingly familiar mint-green unicorn was making her way down the hall beside an orange mare with carrots on her flank. Maybe 1 or 2 texts to that effect would be nice, but you don't have to... Crap. Sorry, I gotta go! Without waiting for a goodbye, she exited the call and slipped the phone back into its pouch. She's the one I told you about, Lyra whispered to her friend loudly, clearly not actually trying to hide her words. So, Vinyl, were you talking to your new mare friend? It turned out that there were some upsides to being forced into a battle of insults every week. namely, a razor-sharp wit and good reflexes. "Nope, I was talking to yours," replied the white unicorn with a wink. Lyra seemed slightly dumbfounded, and her friend broke into laughter. "Shut up, C-Top," muttered the mayor irritably. Vinyl didn't stick around for a second bout. "I'll leave you to whatever it is you're doing in this building together. Alone." She let those words hang in the air and marched straight past them, heading for the exit. Unwilling to let her get away with the last word, Lyra called out, "I'm not gay!" She's not gay. The DJ mentally wished herself luck and took a stab in the social dark. "Does Bon Bon know that?" she shouted back. A brief pause, then the quiet voice of C-Top inquiring, "What does she mean by that, Lai?" The air outside tasted of victory. A huge grin stretched her cheeks almost painfully, but it was so worth it. Lyra would have a fair bit of difficulty digging herself out of whatever it is she got stuck in. Even without the details, it looked messy. With success flowing behind her, as well as the knowledge that only ponies she needed to be mean to now were those who deserved it, Vinyl was feeling pretty good about her lot in life. In a few days, she'd surprise Octavia by moving in while the cellist was in a class or something, and they'd be able to spend all night talking face-to-face instead of through a phone. Then she'd really be in heaven. All Octavia, all day long. This time, Vinyl didn't even bother coming up with an excuse. She liked being around that gray mare, and there was no point in denying it. It was the other things that could use a little denying. And with that sentence, that sounds like a good cliffhanger sentence to me. It was Chapter 5. Chapter 6 will be next. I'm not going to read that right now. Thanks for listening, you guys. If you want to support me, I've got a Patreon, and you can help me decide what I'm going to read or review or whatever you want me to do. And if you want to join the Discord, I'll leave a link in the description. You can come to the Discord and listen to me read live if you want. So, yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. I still need to get better at ending these videos. That's just not my strong suit. I'm not good at that.